Welcome back to the channel. This is Football Temple powered by Azar Studios. Today, we'll be going off the field of play. And we'll not be talking football. We'll step aside from the field and we'll go on the courts and on the track. Off the pitch, of course, I have two brilliant minds joining me on set as we talk about what transpired in the NBA Game 4, the NBA Finals, and of course, what happened in Montreal. Plenty of drama. And of what happened? Is Hamilton really the man that we should be talking about? Or is it past his prime? Onkani Sam,
Yep.
the Bishop. Let's start with the NBA. We are now tied at 2-2 after 4 games. No, so you did say the NBA will not reach game 6. You were certain it will finish in game 5.
Yeah.
What happened? Like you're not the Bishop you used to be.
I don't know, man.
You're not the Bishop you used to be. Since you went to Ikene,
I
I don't know what you touched.
No.
But
I think
But since you went to Ikene,
that day, the Holy Ghost batted from you that day.
Yeah, no. I need to go back to the way I came from. Maybe I dropped something away. But
what did you touch before entering?
But let me be sincere, man. Let's look at the games. They've not lived up to expectation. This was not the final we were looking for.
Are you sure?
The final maybe not we're looking for, but we expected.
No.
In what way? No, so in what way?
Competitive.
Are you
No, it's
saying
competitive, quite
Simple.
all right. But no, the high standard of the OKC heading into these finals, you know, they dropped the gun.
so you expected by now? OKC should be 3-1.
So,
Gone.
bro, you know the funniest thing? See, the way you guys actually underrating Indiana, Texas, it's just amazing.
First of all,
It's amazing.
First of all, this is the first time they're getting into this.
Yeah,
competition.
and it doesn't mean
They're
this
not,
is a-
they're not
See,
used to being in this kind of place.
I understand, but look, they've
But they've been doing well.
been consistent. Look,
I agree.
see, this team took apart the New York Knicks.
Yeah, they did.
They took apart the Cleveland Cavaliers that finished first in their conference.
The Cleveland was already going. before
They took apart.
It doesn't matter also.
They took apart the Bucks,
I think that was,
and they were doing it in a commanding manner. They were not just surviving by the whisker.
but let
They
me,
were dominating.
but if you look at
And
the,
here's
if
the
you
truth,
look-
right?
Okay.
No,
These
when
guys-
they played the Bucks had just one. They just won one
One win, yeah, in fact.
Same thing with I think with the
And it was
Cavs.
very easy.
Cavs
Very easy.
has only 1 or 2 wins. See, these guys are. Let's give it to these guys. See, the NBA have changed. You're used to one-sided NBA. You're used to. I mean, what are you looking for?
Maybe-
We're looking for a competitive final.
maybe not
A
so
final
once
that
the
will get
time
you-
that-
The
No,
last time I saw competitive.
did-
See,
yeah.
The last time I saw a competitive final was in 2022. That was when the Bucks. I mean, no 2021. That was when the Bucks and
yes,
the Phoenix Suns were in the
played.
final.
Yeah,
They
that
got
was, that was the final.
I think it got to game.
The Bucks-
game,
yeah, game seven.
Game
Game seven.
7.
Game
Yes.
The Bucks were trailing.
We saw a game 7.
What's his name? Giannis was
Giannis.
injured.
Yeah.
The Bucks were trailing. I mean, I think 3-1.
They were
or
trailing
2-1.
3-1.
Yeah,
And they
3-1.
came back and wow.
And they came back
3-3 and took it to game
and
7.
took it to game 7.
And then won in game
Yes.
7.
And
Even
guess
in
what?
game 7, they were also trailing in game 7.
And guess what?
Before they won
Guess
the
what?
game.
Guess who had the home court advantage? The Phoenix Suns. It means the Phoenix Suns play more games
More games at home than
Than
the
the Bucks.
yeah.
the Bucks. But they end up losing that game. Now, see, this is the NBA I'm actually expecting. 2 teams that have been amazingly well, that have talent all round, not just a team that have just 3
Three
four
players.
guys
But you are-
that are dominant, you understand?
you agree with me
will-
that
that will assert their authority any day,
The
anytime.
OKC
No.
played tougher opponents
Now,
on
here's the
the,
truth,
ahead
right?
to the finals.
They had an amazing throughout the season. They were the best defensive
Absolutely.
team.
Thank you very much.
They were the best defensive team.
Thank you very much.
Now, in the off season, they've been amazing. But here's the simple truth, right? They've been that consistent. I expected at some point I would see a drop in their performance because, bro, it's not
Of
easy.
all time to drop
And
a
that is
performance in the
most unfortunate-
finals.
That's the most unfortunate thing. It happens in the final. See,
They've given their all. Probably maybe.
no. I see.
Are they doing an Inter Milan?
No, see, I expected to drop before the final, like for them to struggle a little bit. I mean, they did that against. They were in game 7 against the Nuggets, if I'm not mistaken.
Nuggets.
Yeah, they got to game 7, right?
Yeah.
With the Nuggets. If
And
I'm
they
not-
managed to just
No, is it 7?
Game 7, yes.
Did they get to game 7?
It was game
Okay,
7.
fine. So they got to game 7, right? And they struggled a little. See, I understand where you're coming from. They had an amazing season.
They
The
had
best
tougher
defensive team.
opponents.
And they've been one of the best defensive teams
Absolutely.
in the NBA. And they scored
Having
well.
a tougher
And they have
opponent
the MVP.
Yeah.
Right?
The
But
MVP,
come on, at
yeah.
some point now, look at it. Even in their bad state, even when they are struggling, even when they drop the gun, they are there. They lost game 1 at home in a manner that we never expected.
Nobody
I mean,
expected
with
them to
7
lose.
points.
Scandalously.
At 7 point, you're leading less than 50-something seconds to go.
They lose the game in the
You
final
lose the
seconds.
game in the final second.
How did
Close
it
point.
happen?
The
Yes.
second game, guess what they did?
They went
made sure that
trials.
there was no
Yeah,
clutch,
they went
right?
trials,
Third game
They
at
dropped-
home
they dropped
in
the gun.
Indianapolis. I mean, Cambridge Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
I expected the Indiana. That was why I told you that. I said for them to win, if they hadn't get a victory in what they call it, okay, in
OKC.
Auckland. I mean, Oklahoma, I would have said that game will end game.
And then,
I mean, the fact that they got this, I know that you know how to play 2 games at home and
not
not
get
lose
one
2
weekend,
games.
yeah.
So I was so sure they're going to win 1 game. My biggest fear, sincerely speaking, is will the Pacers, will the Thunders be able to win a single game there? And they came close to losing those 2 games.
They almost lost this one.
They almost lost 2 games. You
They
understand? They lost the first
almost
game.
lost this
So when we're enjoying this final, for God's sake, this is the final that we want, not the one-sided final. For the past 2-3 seasons, what we keep seeing is one-sided final.
Now,
I
think
when the Boston Celtics won last season, it was one-sided.
We only were going
the Mavericks, right?
We only were going to win.
Let's not look at it from this point of view. I think the NBA is not getting away from the big boys.
Simple, and that is the beautiful thing. I said it in our
Now,
message.
I think it's now the talent
right now.
Now talent are now coming up.
More talent. The game
More
is
talent
more
are now
liberalized
coming
right
up.
now.
Yeah, it's
So
not exactly.
It's not a one-man
It's more
show.
liberalized right now.
It's now
It
shared
isn't
across
about the
broad.
3 big men again. No,
No.
have a team that is good all round.
All
We saw
round.
it last season.
Yeah.
We saw it this season.
Celtics
Last season,
now.
the OKC topped their conference. You understand? Got to the final conference final, lost to the Mavericks.
Mavericks.
They lost to Mavericks.
Mavericks,
Yeah.
yes.
Then the Cavs got to, I think, semi-final last season. Then this season they had an amazing season. And in the Cavs, like we said, you can't call it. I mean, the bulk of these guys are in their 2nd, 3rd, 4th years.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of NBA right now. Gonna the days where Steph Curry is going to be the president. Your team
Where
have
Anthony
to,
Davis,
your
Jokic,
team
and
have
the
to
rest.
get amazing team around him. Or if Anthony Davis want to win, then they need to get probably the what's his name, Giannis. So the NBA has been liberalized right now. So it's no longer about the 3 big guys, the 3 most talented guys that you have in your team. No, the team must be balanced. Like you have talent all
I
around.
think
And that's what it is.
if I take us back to game 3, like you're saying, even guys from the bench, helped out, scored more goals, than
More baskets.
some of the
That
guys.
was when
started.
TJ McConnell
Yes, came
the
in and
most
they
amazing. But
were
guess,
so
I mean,
amazing,
that's
yeah.
the beauty. Now that is the funniest. That's why we say this final is amazing. He did it in game 3, right? Guess who did it in game 4? Caruso, coming from the bench too. Scored 20 points.
Yeah, 20.
Had about, I think, 6 or 7 assists. Now, here's the thing, right? We're saying they had a bad game. Yeah, they had a terrible game. But look, they were able to manage to win. They had a terrible game. We agree. They have only 11 assists in that game, right? And
Even
they have
Shy
have
with
16
all the whole
turnovers.
applaud I give it to me. Apart from the 33 goals he
They have
did
16
score.
Shai did not
turnovers,
have
right?
a single assist.
Yes, three rebounds, three steals.
17,
That's
I
the
mean,
best grade. 3
17
rebounds, 3 steals, 33 points.
No, but
30
all in all, so
35
like,
points. 35 points. For Shai.
For sure, I know
It was
35
35
points.
points.
35, yeah.
35 points. And
At
all
the
in
end of
all,
the day, nothing else.
here is it, right? They did this when it matters the most. Now, they had a bad game. Like
Yeah.
we said, first time in the NBA final, 17 3 attempted, they only got 3.
3.
That's how
Very
crazy-
bad.
That's how
Record-
bad it was.
very bad.
But here is
Very
it,
bad.
all these things. He broke a record that day that everybody was screaming. The last 5 minutes, you scored 15 points. Last time it was done like this, it was, I think, 54 years ago. He scored 15. Nobody has ever scored. Only one person has done that. And that's
Because
what
at the
he
start,
scored.
of the
He
first
scored
quarter,
15 points in the last 4 minutes.
Yes.
the fact that at the start of
And
the fourth quarter, they were
Their
leading.
last 16 points, right?
The
Guess
Pacers
what?
were leading.
Yeah, but from the 4th minute, everything changed, right?
Can we-
And in their last 15 minutes,
Can we
right?
give
I mean,
the coach his
their last
his
15 points,
flowers?
right?
Coach Mike.
Yeah,
Mike Duggan.
Mark. Okay, that's
You
something
know,
he did, right?
he's normally used to keeping
Isaiah
Shai
Hastington.
and exactly keeping Shai.
No.
He lets
He
Shai-
realized his mistake.
He drops him every 4th quarter and rests him.
That's one
This
aspect.
season, he rested him in the 3rd quarter and brought him in the 4th.
Okay, but let me tell you his biggest mistake, which he realized and he adjusted. He corrected immediately. Game 1, 2, 3, he started Cousin Wallet instead of what was his name, Isaiah Hastington. So
yeah.
now, with Cousin, you're going small, and they play 3 with Cousin.
They've lost twice.
They struggle.
Yeah.
He doesn't give them that the what you need.
He needs
They
something
were not
physical,
big, you
yeah,
understand?
something physical.
And so the screening, the crashing, and everything, the defensive distance, he was not giving them. So he decided to start Isaiah this time around with Ched. Isaiah Ched, 2 big men in front, and we saw the difference that day
It worked, yeah.
because they were able to stifle the offensive prowess of.
I think they made
Pacers.
it a bit more physical. No,
They were
Pacers,
able- yeah.
Pacers are-
Yeah,
the Pacers
Haliburton,
are not
Siakam.
Yeah,
At
they're
some point, they were
they're
struggling.
not the-
I know the biggest point was
Yeah.
in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
Haliburton struggled.
Eh,
Towards
Yeah,
the
he
end.
did. Yeah,
Towards
he
the
did.
I
end.
think it's not all true.
And that's where
I think
Pacers.
he
And that's where
struggled
Pacers.
all through.
That's where the
About
the
17
Thunders.
points. I think he struggled all too. Let's not bring to the 4th quarter. Like I said, it's a master class for
It's a master class here
from
from
Mike.
They
He made the game very, very physical. What he did was simply, Piasca,
He went big, simple. He went big.
Siakam want to play
He went big.
classy. Tyrese want to move it and have fun. Wiggins and the rest of them. But what he
Like,
did
he
was,
went big.
what he went was just big,
He went
like I said, big men.
Went big this
We
time around.
go hard. It just remind me of
And you know
it
the
remind me of
funniest
the
thing?
Lakers when they had the
No,
Shaq
see it.
nails. When they don't want to go big and they don't want to go with the
But
flair
here's
of the
it.
Kobe
See,
Bryant
also-
and the rest of them.
Here is it, right? Then this means because of him. If going big has worked for you all through the playoff,
Yeah.
why going small? in the
Maybe
final.
because tactical.
Why going
Because
small
exactly,
in the final?
because what if
He's
it
going
costs
big
them the
at-
final?
You understand? Why going small in the final?
Because we are
He
back
didn't
to this
work in game
conversation
one.
because it's
You
2-2.
struggle in game
Yeah.
2. You understand?
Yeah,
In
and he
game
kept
3
it.
too, he didn't work. And
Because
now
they
you
are
see the
always
difference.
coming back to win the games.
That's it.
They are always when they can easily win these games without stressing. Because if you look at it, if Shai did not impress in the end of the
Towards
fourth
the end,
quarter,
yeah,
towards the end of the fourth
yeah.
quarter, it could have been a different
And
conversation.
here's the
entirely.
truth, right? If it has gotten to that point, right, in the issue of NBA, right, in the final particularly, that 8 times team have gone 3-1. Only once. No, it has happened once. Only once. Yeah, I think LeBron.
James,
Yeah,
it's
20, I
miracle.
think 2016 or 2015 or 2016
It's
against the Warriors.
Comeback.
That was the only
Very
time.
difficult. Even in the playoffs.
So in the NBA final, if you've gone 3-1, almost as good as this. That was why
psychologically, you're
Psychologically, you're gone.
Yeah.
You are gone because, of course,
Technically, you're gone.
the next game, a win for them, 4-1. And
Even if you win, it is 3-2.
I just remember-
You need to win
I
twice.
just
Twice
remember
on the
that
bounce, take it
final,
to game seven.
that final between the Bucks and the Phoenix, it wasn't 3-1, it was 4-2. It was 4-2 at some point. They didn't do 3-1. It was 4-2. So they were no, not 4-2. It was 3-2. So what the Phoenix needed to do was to win one of their last 2 games.
They can't.
And they couldn't win one of their last 2 games. That's how the Bucks came from 2 games down to win that season. It wasn't 3-1.
Okay, yes, it
It
ended
was
in game
3-2.
6.
Yeah.
It ended in game 6.
No, it ended in game 7. But because it was
But
3-1,
4-2,
you understand?
It was 3-2. It was
3-2 now.
They came
So
back.
this
yes,
guy,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
So that's what happened. And so it has only once in the history of
It can
NBA that a
never-
team
it can
trailed in the
never happen.
final with with 2 games and they still end up winning
Never happen.
this.
Even-
Like you said, see, for me,
one
it's a
of-
competitive final because the teams are almost at par.
Okay.
They are almost at par.
Game
So for me,
5.
Game 5 is going to be amazing.
We're
too.
going to game 5.
Yeah, we're going
Going
back
back
to what do you call that? What's the name of that? Paycom Center.
Yes,
Yeah.
going back there.
The
Again.
Paycom Center. Yeah.
And the
Inaugural.
good thing is that like you said,
They've learned their
despite
mistakes.
the loss by the Pacers, I think they'll go there with confidence. Because let me be sincere, I think for me, I don't know what he thinks. I think they have bust 4 of those games. As much as I'm giving kudos, I want the Oklahoma City Thunder to win. I think for most of the games they played catch up.
Yeah.
They played catch up.
But you know,
All the
see,
games they won, they came from behind.
see, the facts
And the
on,
ones they didn't come from behind, they lost.
and you know the funny thing, the facts on ground, right, says a lot. They've never trailed in the playoff. Throughout this
Exactly,
season. They've never
exactly.
trailed. The Pacers have never trailed.
They've not lost consecutively twice.
Throughout this season, the only time I think this guy lost back to back. Just I mean, 2 consecutive games. Just I think once or
In the
twice
regular season. That was
in
the
the regular
yeah.
season.
Yes.
So
The
the
playoffs,
fact,
they've never-
the whatever on ground is just so crazy.
Yeah, favor.
Because
So-
now Pacers have never trailed. Are we going to see the Fakes are trailing for the first time in the playoff when it
Yes.
matters the most? You understand?
It's
Why?
it's looking most likely.
Why?
And they've never lost
Why
twice. So
these
they
guys
lose
throughout the playoff they've
Yes.
not dropped game back to back?
Exactly. They
I'm
can't
talking
drop
about
2 games.
OKC.
Okay, sit on.
Now they won the last game. So are they going to trail? Are they going to lead for the first time? Because it's the first time they've not been able to lead in a series
They've not
after
been
playing
able to
4
lead
games.
4 games.
Yeah, they've not been able to lead in a
So
series.
game 5 is crucial for
the
both
game-
teams.
And you know what? I'm beginning to feel like it's the end. This guy lost it because it was supposed to be 3-1 at the end of the day. I'm talking about the Pacers.
Yes, Pacers.
But
I
with
agree
this
with
right
you.
now,
I
right,
agree with you.
I don't see them surviving in OKC. I don't see them. And I don't see them
So what you
winning
are saying
because-
is they may get a victory in their own turf.
I am expecting the OKC to come out. See, you're going to see a different OKC henceforth. Probably we've seen the end. Probably Pacers might not win a game again.
So
Probably,
you're
So,
still-
that's
so
what
you're
I'm
still
saying
going with your
about-
game
yeah,
6.
with my game because I don't see with what happened that day. It was like psychologically they were reworking, so they are now a different set of people.
I thought so when they came back 1-1.
Yeah, I thought so too. Sincerely speaking, I did. But guess what? They did this one away from home. Now they're going back home.
But
Right?
you also know that in game 4, it could have gone the other way for them also. That's the Thunder.
They survived
It
by the
came
whisker.
very close.
They survived by the whisker. We all
So
agree.
if we're
But
now
that's
saying-
the mark of a champion, on the day you play so bad,
Just
you're
win.
able to manage
That-
and get the
that-
result.
that's tough,
And in a
yeah.
very crucial game,
I'm
a game
tempted
that-
to link
see,
them to one team
see,
in football.
the funny thing is that that's the game that is on. History is about to be changed or is about to be made. Because if Indiana wins, this is going to be their first time
Ever.
in their history.
Ever.
Why if they win, this is going to be their first time in 20 years because since they
Yes.
moved from being the C2 Thunders, right? Is it
Yes.
no C2 Supersonics 20 years ago to being OKC?
They've
They've
not won
not
it.
won, right? So this is going to be so history is about to be made, and so nobody won't take anything.
Either way,
for
both are
granted.
winning for the first time.
Good thing about Shai is this,
Yeah.
right? Shai is never under pressure. Shai is still the same.
I think
Shai.
he enjoys
win
his
or
game.
lose.
He enjoys his
No,
game.
Calm and-
before this season, let me say who was Shai, you know.
Who was Shai? For the past 3 seasons, Shai has
No,
actually been
we
coming.
know he was
We've
like you
seen-
said, he's
we've-
coming. Now see,
We're talking about the
see,
NBA that we've
he's
not
playing
had-
with the big league. You know what to play with the big league is like, you know when LeBron James loses a final,
Yeah.
it's news.
Hmm.
But the players who lose a final,
No, it's going to be a news this time around.
Because Shai is now the
Because
main
NBA
man.
has changed.
This-
He is
come on,
now
man.
the main man.
current MVP. It's
He's
like
the main
Oh,
man.
God,
Like
the
this.
MVP, God, the MVP.
see,
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 if a player is dropping 30,
Yeah, every time.
averagely or let's say 25. In 25 of the
See.
30 games he's playing, he's the main man.
For the team.
Even in the NBA, for this season.
Nikola Logic was dropping in the regular season and the playoff.
See, and now here's simple truth, right? You just call him. Now, check
Yeah.
it out. Any guy that's actually been an MVP. Today, people talk about Embiid because he was an MVP.
Yeah,
and
Embiid.
his team is not performing.
Absolutely.
Where's
Each
Joel
time,
Embiid now?
each time Giannis
Injury
lose
problem,
any of the
worries,
series
you know.
since winning the MVP
Yeah.
and since winning this thing,
It has
each
always
time-
been about
Yeah,
Giannis.
It's always about Giannis.
Not
Now-
the box.
Now the same thing with Jokic.
Now,
each
Shaq,
time Jokic
He's
and
playing,
Denver
yes. It's all about your
failed to meet their target, it's all about Jokic.
Yeah.
Because they were all MVPs.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be different with him. Look, it was about him that day. And he knows it was about him.
That's why
Look,
he-
he's
and that's
that
why
big
he-
right
That's why
now.
he stepped up his game.
And he stepped up the game.
55
So don't tell me it's not going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal if
That
you
the
can't.
MVP
Yeah,
look-
that the MVP is
Don't
on the losing
forget,
side.
I remember last time.
I understand that the last
person to do
the
was
last
Steph
MVP,
Curry.
the last current, I mean,
The
regular
last person
season
to win
MVP.
it and win the MVP was Steph Curry.
Well, no, it was LeBron James, I think.
It was like Steph Curry.
Was Steph Curry?
Yes, it was Steph Curry.
What happened in the bubble?
He didn't. He
Who won the regular season? That was the last. Okay.
The last person was Steph Curry. Far back as 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So it's as I tell you, even the fact that he wants to get to that, that pinnacle to
Bro.
put in the same bracket with Steph Curry,
Bro.
it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't think he shouldn't beat this around because at the end of the day,
How?
this is first MVP.
You've been that consistent for the past 3
He's
seasons.
been consistent also.
I agree with you.
You've actually
And
championed
he's the
because of a
MVP,
young
so-
team, the second young
so
team
he
in
should
the
not
history of
remain
MVP to
humble.
get to the. I mean, to
Oh,
NBA.
should he go in?
Play all out. Yes, why not?
But I still
He's
fancy-
enjoying his time.
I fancy the OKC. I fancy them a lot.
Everybody fancy
I
them.
thought they should.
But now,
I thought they should do
I
it in a
fancy
clean
them
sweep.
too. See.
But now I don't think it will get to game 7.
See,
Okay.
see, here's
I
the
think we'll
mistake,
get game
right?
7.
Here is the mistake, right? Why you fancy the OKC? You grossly underestimated the Pacers.
Maybe.
Yeah, you were looking at the Pacers very
He
well.
didn't expect them to.
Yeah, no, he wasn't even. Look, these guys have been amazing,
That look as a team.
and they're going to break a record. If they can win this thing, they'll be the first. I think either it's a second team that finish out of the top 3
And
during the regular season
and
and
to
win
win.
because no team finish out of the top 3 in the regular season that still go ahead and win the NBA.
We get to the
So
final,
it's
it's
going to be
huge.
so much
Yes,
is at stake right now.
I said they knocked out some people.
Are you still sticking to game 6 or possibly a game 7?
Speaking, I'm sticking to my game 6 because I don't see these guys are going
So
to.
it's over for Pacers. You wanted a soft spot for Siakam.
Yeah, I do.
You still,
but with
but
the
you're
amount of
I
work.
don't even give Siakam his flowers. He had a great time last night.
let me uncanny Sam.
Yeah, with the amount of work I've seen Shai doing, with what he did particularly, breaking that record, that 54 years record, scoring 15 points in the last
Last
4
4
point something minute of the game. Come on.
So
He
game
deserve-
6 for you.
He deserved the chip. He deserved the
You
chip.
said game 5.
I give him 5.
You were certain that it was
5
game
is done and
5.
dusted.
So 5 is not.
It's
It's
not
done and
doable.
dusted. It's not
Yeah.
doable.
Yeah.
Are you going to 7 or you want to also
Game
stick
7.
with him?
I'm not sure. I can't trust this anymore.
If it gets to game 7,
I can't trust him.
if it gets
I
to game
can't
7,
trust him
right,
anymore.
I will have a special gift for you that day.
Well,
Game
let's
7.
hope and
If it gets
see
game 7.
how it happens. With the
Yeah,
NBA
regardless of who win. You understand? Regardless of who win, if you get to game 7.
Now, regardless of who wins, when
Yeah.
the NBA finals get to game 7, well, game 5, we'll see both teams try to see who leads. For the Thunders, they are yet to win back-to-back. And they are, of course,
That's
in
the
this
final.
in this
Yeah,
final.
in this-
And for the Pacers,
They're yet to trail.
they're yet to trail in the
Throughout
NBA
the playoffs,
finals
yeah.
and throughout the playoffs also. So let's see who takes game 5. For Nkani Sam, he still thinks it will end in
The
game
next
6.
two games are going to the
And
OKC,
it will
yeah.
go to the OKC, but also
Yeah.
thinks game 7 is visible. It means game 5 and 6 will go 1-1 apiece.